I mean, it honestly probably brought like a loss because like we were spending a lot of money.
Really?
A lot of money on feed, a lot of money on just like shelters. And they were also like sustainably raised, like pasture raised, which basically means that like we would move them across the field like to different sections. So they always had fresh green grass and just like, stuff to eat. So like we were paying for like electric fencing and food and all this. Like we kind of went overboard with buying.
This is the CLIMACO podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the CLIMACO podcast. Today's guest is a coach who is here to help you make money. Joe McCarthy. What's up, Joe?
What's up? Appreciate you having me on.
Glad to have you, bro. Before the camera started rolling, we were talking about your siblings and how you have 11 of them. That's incredible. And you're the oldest at 22.
Yep. That's what.
Man, your parents got busy.
They were cranking.
Incredible. Do you know all their names?
I can name them. Yep.
Wow.
Everyone else can. They kind of screwed up. They can get to like the first 5 or 6, and they're like, okay, what are the other ones? And then,
bro, what's Thanksgiving like?
It's wild. We actually went back up. We went up to Thanksgiving for the past, I guess, 2 months ago. It was a fun time. All the family came out. Massive wooden table.
Wow. How many were there? Like 60 of you?
Yeah, I think we counted. It was like between like 50 and 60, something around that.
Wow.
I think we had two or three turkeys. We had like a ham. It was wild.
That must be so much fun having so many siblings like that.
It's pretty hectic. Like growing up, there was always something going on. People yelling at each other and people getting into mischief and like we kind of had our little gangs, I guess. There was like the first half, like the first 4 of us would hang out a lot, and then the other 4 would be like kind of like almost like
the age groups
exactly
clunked up together.
Yeah.
Are you close? Do you have like a best friend?
I have a little brother. His name is Leo, and he's
it's my name.
Yeah, that's what's funny. Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, my little brother Leo is actually he's probably like at this point probably 14 or 15. I get as soon as I moved out, they kind of stayed the same age. So it's like my sister's like 21 or 22 at this point, and like I still think of her as like 17 or 16.
I know what you mean.
My little brother Leo. So I grew up on a farm, and I've mentioned this on a couple other podcasts, but no one really knows that Leo was my main like helper on the farm. Because like I was raising like hundreds of chickens and turkeys and ducks, and we had pigs at one point. So,
that's incredible.
And I was like
in Virginia.
In Virginia. So I was like a 14-year-old kid, just raising all these animals. I had all this responsibility.
Were you up at dawn with the rooster?
Kinda. I hated more. I've always hated like waking up super early, but it kind of forced me to because I had to go to school too at like 6 a.m. and we were an hour away from school.
Wow.
Like we lived in literally the middle of nowhere, Virginia, like Northern Virginia. So it's like we'd have to drive 30 minutes to go to the grocery store, 30 minutes to get to church, 30 minutes to get to really anything.
Crazy.
Our school was like an hour away.
Man, I don't have good memories in Virginia.
And there's a lot of like crappy parts of Virginia. We lived in an area called Winchester. It was a little bit nicer.
I got pulled over doing 96.
Dude, I actually had to memorize like the different areas where cops were. Like we went back up to Virginia, like I mentioned, for Thanksgiving. Down here, it's like I'll just drive and I don't worry about cops, right?
Yeah.
But it's like in Virginia, it's like I'd say every like 50 to 100 feet, it's like there's gonna be a cop hiding, and there's always all these hills and fields, and they kind of just hide out there waiting. I used to get pulled over all the time. I haven't gotten pulled over
they were so close to arresting me. What happened was it was like 2:30 in the morning, 10 below zero.
What were you doing?
I was working. I was I used to do IT.
Oh, okay, got you.
And I was working for a company that partnered up with different colleges around the country, and I was doing IT for them, IT service. So I was sent down there to fix a whole set of computers and do the network for them. And I'm actually driving back to the airport in DC, and it's 2:30 in the morning. My flight was like at 6 a.m.
Oh, that's
right. So I'm like, there's nobody in the road. I'm booking it.
Yeah.
Right. And they pulled me over. They didn't arrest me because they couldn't find any drugs, and because I had a flight to catch.
Yeah.
I proved to them I had
lucky.
a flight to catch.
You got lucky.
But I had to go to court.
Oh, you gotta go in Virginia, right?
In
So it's
Virginia.
like you probably was.
I had to hire a lawyer. Cost me like $1,500. Thankfully, I hired a former Virginia senator
Oh, that is funny.
to be my lawyer, and he got me out. They wanted me to do a day in jail for every mile over 90. So 6 days in
6?
jail. I'm gonna do 6 days in
Good
jail.
grief.
Those motherfuckers.
That's insane.
Yeah, it sucked. But thankfully, he was able to help me
So was it a
clear my
rental
record.
car, or was it your
It was a
car?
rental car. Yeah, I was driving a Mercedes E350. I was just booking it. Oh, good old time. So now every single time I go to
Kind of
Virginia,
associate it.
I got my freaking radar on and I'm just chilled, cruising speed limit. I do not fuck around in Virginia.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we both learned the hard way. Like as soon as I got my license, I got pulled over, got a ticket, had to take like a class, and I was like super new to it, and then immediately got pulled over again. And people always joked like I was the kid who's just like very bad at driving.
Yeah.
My parents like they came down here, they're like, oh, you fit right in with the Florida drivers. Everyone's so wacky and like driving like a maniac.
Joe, what made you leave all that? What made you leave the farm, your family, Virginia for Miami? I mean, it's night and day.
Yeah, no,
It's
100%.
two different planets.
It is.
What made you
100%.
make that jump?
I think the biggest thing was just that I kind of needed to kind of break out of my shell. Like I felt like a big fish in a little pond in
Okay.
Virginia because there weren't a lot of like super motivated people. Like
Yeah.
I maybe had like one or two buddies who were kind of on the same wavelength as I was, but other than that, it's like everybody's kind of the same.
Right.
So I just felt like, okay, I wanted to break out, find somewhere where it's like I'm not this big shot. I'm like, now I feel like a little fish in a
Yes.
pond of big sharks,
Yep.
right? Because there's like so much craziness going on.
I
down
mean, you
here.
got some megalodons up in this.
Yeah, it's insane. And that keeps me motivated too. And it's like, it's just, I feel like it's a little bit more fast paced now. And I was telling my wife and my family, like, I probably wouldn't stay down here for like a really long time. Like, I see this as being like a season where it's like I can.
Right, you're
hop on-
building.
networking, hopping on podcasts, building the business, getting content. Like, that's kind of what I'm treating this as. Like, that's the purpose.
Yeah.
But eventually I'll probably move back to either Virginia or just somewhere where I can just, hang out, buy like some land and not have to like be in a rush. Like right now it's fun because I'm like
Yeah.
22 and I like working on
Right.
the business and I like networking with people and I like this fast paced life.
Yeah.
But I think
You got at least a good 8 years to hustle.
yeah.
You know,
'Cause I'm
you get to
young.
30, you can, you've made your millions, you can start chilling out.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a good 8 years. It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm glad I started young.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Bro, at 22, I was a fucking degenerate. Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
I had no hope in life. I was doing IT.
Did you go to college?
I went to college. I have an associate's. I don't have a bachelor's. It took me almost 5 years to get my associate's. It's a 2-year program. Took me almost 5 years, okay? I majored in networking administration. Yeah, man, like the highlight of my 22nd year of life was going to Amsterdam and like getting stoned and
Yeah.
partying with whores. Like,
Yeah.
that was really the highlight of, I was not thinking about money or business or.
Sounds like the typical 22-year-old.
Yeah,
honestly.
it was
Like, most
it
people-
was
like,
awful.
Yeah, and most people aren't like me. I actually skipped college. I didn't even go, and we can get into that if you want. But like, people were saying like, oh, you're gonna miss out, and you're not gonna be able to fit in with the culture. I'm like, I don't really want to necessarily fit in with those people. And I
Yeah.
didn't fit in high school. Like I don't know about you, but I was like a C student. I was not good like naturally at classes.
I was kicked out my junior
So
year.
I think we can kind of it's like school was not like a strong suit. And I was
Yeah,
like,
not
why
for me.
I don't want to go to another. For me personally, I didn't want to go to another 4 years of school
Yeah.
to get a degree that ultimately wasn't really going to help me specifically in my scenario with business. So I was
Right.
like, yeah, and I didn't want to fit in with them anyway. So I was like, I'll just skip it and go into business.
When did you get married?
I got married at 19.
At 19. When did you guys meet?
So we actually met in high school.
Okay, high school sweethearts.
I've known her since I was probably like 14 or 15. So that's why I knew, like, okay, I've known you for 5-6 years. You kind of like met me when I had nothing.
Yeah.
I literally was just like a little farm kid selling eggs. So I know that there's no, she didn't marry me for the money. I know that for a fact. I think she saw the potential, which is good.
Which
but
is
it's-
awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And she's very much on the same page as me when it comes to like business and my goals and all that.
You know, you're the first entrepreneur, because I also married my high school sweetheart.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
We've been together 18 years, married for 9 in May. I just turned
Nice.
37.
Oh, really? Awesome.
So
dude.
I technically could be your dad
Yeah.
if I had you at 15.
Very young. Yeah.
So I met her in the 5th grade. We were 10. We were
okay.
10. Yeah.
Real high school sweetheart.
Yeah. So we got together at 18, got married at 28, 10 years later. So you're the first entrepreneur I've ever met that has done the same.
Well, you know what's funny about that? And I actually made a reaction video a while back because I'm sure you know like the red pill guys like Justin Waller and Andrew
Yeah,
Tate.
of course.
And they're big into like, okay, don't get married, don't have like women, or like you chase women, but it's like you don't need to
Right.
settle down until you're like super successful.
Get it out of your system, right?
Yeah, get it out of your system. So Justin Waller, this guy, he was friends with Tate, and he was saying something like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember what exactly he said, but like it was basically to the extent like, don't get married until you're at least 35. You made your millions. You know, you focused on yourself. And I'm just like, you know, that works for some people, but I think that also makes unnecessary challenges because it's like now you're meeting all these women and it's like you're a millionaire. You know, it's like you don't know like what's behind that or what
Correct.
the intent is.
I think both have their plus and their minus.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like I think for most men, that's probably good advice.
Yeah, and most
Probably
men, like,
good
they're
advice.
not ready. They're not mature.
They're not.
enough
They're
to-
not. And
yeah.
you're gonna ruin your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Go build a career first. Go mature
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
And then get married.
I agree 100%.
But I think there are some guys like you and me who mature faster.
yeah,
You know, and I think we found the right person. So why not go for it?
yeah,
Right? Why am I gonna let this person go away
yeah. Or why
and
wait?
someone else have her?
Yeah.
When I've already found her and she's here, I'm gonna lock her down. You know. So I agree with you.
100%.
Yeah. What made you get into entrepreneurship?
It's actually a funny story. So I'm sure you know Ty Lopez.
Of course.
So Ty Lopez actually was an apprentice on a farm called Polyface Farm. And so this guy, Joel Salatin. So if you like really study
Hold
Ty-
on.
Yeah.
Ty Lopez was an apprentice
So
in a farm.
At 19 years old, Ty Lopez went to a farm actually in Virginia, literally like 2 hours away from where I lived. It's this sustainable farm called Polyface Farm. This guy, Joel Salatin, super smart guy, super wise. He's written like probably at this point 10 books.
Wow.
And so when I was like 14 or 15, I wanted to get into farming. So I was reading all Joel Salatin's books. I was like watching random interviews he was doing.
I mean, of course, you lived in a farm. You worked. Of course, you're
Yeah,
gonna
what
be a
else are you
farmer,
gonna do?
right? You're gonna be a fucking farmer.
what else are you
when
gonna
you
do?
read this book?
So I was like reading farm books literally, and I was watching this interview that he was doing with some other guy, and he was the guy asked him like, what was it like driving in Ty Lopez's Lamborghini? And at the time, I had no idea who Ty Lopez was, so I was like, what? This old farm guy's riding in a Lamborghini. So I just started like going down the rabbit hole of like, okay, how is Joel Salatin connected to Ty Lopez? And I found out like at 19, Ty Lopez went on his farm for a whole year, lived on the farm like in a shed, and like worked the farm with him. And he was the first apprentice. And so Joel Salatin is actually in Ty Lopez's 67-step program. He's in like all kinds of different videos and like that.
I'm guessing Joe is very wealthy.
At this point, yeah, he's like one
Yeah.
of those wealthiest, the wealthiest farmer out there when it comes to sustainability. Like he's speaking on stages and all that, which I was super enamored by. And I actually met Joel Salatin multiple times because he was like my like mentor or like
Very cool.
my idol at the time.
Yeah.
But basically, so I, found out about Ty Lopez, saw he had these, young women and Lamborghinis and mansions. And the one thing he kept on saying is read books, gain knowledge, learn from other people. So I was probably like 14, 15. That's when I got into, instead of reading farm books, I started reading like business books, Napoleon Hill, Robert Kiyosaki,
All the classics.
all the classic books. So by the time I was like 15 or 16, I read probably 60 to 70 like books on business and entrepreneurship.
Wow.
And then I started my account at Real Joe McCarthy, which I still have today. And I just started posting stuff I was learning. Fast forward till today, I've obviously, monetized that, started creating programs and helping other people grow similar to how I have.
What did you start posting?
So at the time, I was posting a lot of like generic quotes. Like I might hear a quote from Grant Cardone, like thinking 10x is the same. It takes the same amount of effort to think 10x to think
Right.
small or whatever.
Right.
And I was just posting these generic quotes, and that's actually something I now advise against, which is not just regurgitating other people's content.
Yeah, the algorithm changed.
Yeah, so it definitely started to morph into like more of my own topics and ideas and values and beliefs. But yeah, at the time it was just like some random quote that I learned in a book, create like a quick little graphic, post it on Instagram. And that was probably like 2016, 2017.
When did that switch occur where you're like, there's something here. I can probably make a course or do some coaching. When was that light bulb a moment for you?
It actually happened before I started the Real Joe McCarthy account, because if you fast forward, kind of like rewind back like a year or two, I was using Facebook and Instagram still to like sell farm products, sell chicken, sell eggs.
Got it.
I had a whole freezer full of
So
chicken.
so you guys were doing farm to table sales.
Yeah, exactly. So like I would raise the chickens, get the eggs, package them up. Like I would wash them
And your
myself.
family still does this?
They do it on like a small scale. I think no one's really as motivated as I was at the time to like take care.
So you took the initiative and
I
you
took
did
over
that on your own.
From A to Z, I did everything.
How much more profit that bring the family?
I mean, it honestly probably brought like a loss, because like we were spending a lot of money.
Really?
A lot of money on feed, a lot of money on just like shelters, and they were also like sustainably raised, like pasture raised, which basically means that like we would move them across the field like to different sections, so they always had fresh green grass and just like stuff to eat. So like we were paying for like electric fencing and food and all this. Like we kind of went overboard with buying it. So like I think if you were to do the taxes on it, there was no like profit really, but I was making a profit, which I thought was cool. So like I would sell a dozen eggs for, at the time, maybe $6-7, and maybe I'd sell 20, 30 dozen a week, and I was profiting like a few thousand per month. It was small, but to a 14, 15-year-old is like,
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I was using Facebook and Instagram, and I was posting just like daily updates on the farm and chores and like, hey, by the way, we got tons of eggs for sale. Feel free to stop by this Saturday. So I was using it to market. And so that was kind of like the first click of, okay, I can use social media to market myself, make money. And I definitely started carrying that into what I do now with business.
I can see you going back and taking that farm over.
I probably would. I mean, I could definitely end up doing that. I definitely want to have animals.
Would your dad want you to?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I don't know if I've mentioned this on other podcasts, but the house that I was raised in, it's been in the family for like 250 years.
Wow.
It was actually built in like 1796. Like George Washington was alive at the time.
It's crazy.
And so basically when my dad, took over, he had an addition to the farm. So it's like and my grandfather actually added an addition to that farmhouse too. So there was like consistently like adding on additions. It was getting like passed down to the family, however it works. But I'm assuming, ideally my dad probably wants one of the 12 kids to
Of course.
inherit it, because it's been in the family for so long.
Of course. Don't ever sell that farm.
Yeah, exactly. It's very
Don't
sentimental.
ever. If anything, add on to it, right?
Yeah.
Buy your neighbor out. Buy your other neighbor out and expand.
We've literally talked about that, yeah.
Wow.
Like our neighbors were super old, and they're like, Joe should buy that side, Leo buy this side, and just have like a big farm.
Yeah, Joe, make that shit happen.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of capital. It's definitely a big house.
I think farming is the future.
It has to be.
I think that we went from learning to farm to building massive agricultural foundation, right? And then it became all processed, and now it's going back to being all farm.
Yeah, I think people are starting to wake up.
Yeah.
Especially with like the RFK stuff. It's like, okay, maybe this red 40's poison and it's not good for us. So
Yeah,
let's
maybe
take
it's
it
real.
out, you
Right,
know?
we should listen.
So yeah, people are starting to wake up, which I think is good. And I've always been a big proponent on like sustainable farming, organic, whole food, just like it's common sense. But these days, some common sense is not as common. So
No, not at all.
yeah,
No, it's not commonly applied. It's a
Yeah.
problem. People just, a lot of bullshit, a lot of fake news, a lot of,
there's a lot. Yeah.
a lot of he said, she said.
Yeah.
Where do you want your coaching to go? How do you see it developing? What's your ideal client?
Yeah, so my ideal client is primarily coaches, like online coaches. I've noticed a lot of like fitness coaches kind of migrate towards me because a lot of them are coaching in person, and it's like that's only as scalable as it can be. Which
Right.
like you can only coach so many people per month, and they're only charging like $70. So I basically come in and say, hey, why don't we create an online program, charge $1,500, $2,000 as like a 90-day program. You can help people go from X to Z and make way more money because it's like, I mean, if you try to make, let's say, $10,000 per month
Right.
doing all in-person coaching, you're gonna have to get like hundreds of clients.
For sure.
Versus let's get 8 clients.
You don't have that much time in a day,
That
in a
too,
week.
yeah.
You know?
It's like, yeah. So I'm just like, you gotta start thinking smart and build your brand. So a lot of coaches, I've helped a lot of like health coaches too, business owners, entrepreneurs, essentially build their brands and then use their brand and their messaging to go out and find ideal prospects, create an offer, and then make money online.
How'd you learn all this?
Trial and error. I've invested over $100,000 into myself. Like I'm big in personal development and, investing into myself. So over the past like 6 or 7 years, I've invested heavily into coaches, courses, mentors. I've been to seminars and workshops and whole 9 yards. And I feel like that helps like collapse time, which I guess can explain like how I've gotten to where I am at 22. Because I invest into other people, whether it's like sales advice or how to find your voice or how to build your brand or create content. Like I have different coaches for different specific roles, and I take everything that they learned and I implement it, kind of follow their roadmap, for success. And yeah, that's how I've gotten to where I am.
Joe, what do you think sets you apart at 22 that you're out here reading books and coaching coaches who are probably 10 years older than you?
Yeah, no, a lot of 40, 50-year-olds.
A lot of them, yeah. What do you think sets you apart from the average 22-year-old who's out there chasing ass? Like legitimately.
I have literally, yeah. I have a purpose, I think, is the big thing. Like I kind of know why I'm doing it. It's like I just know that I have more potential to fulfill. I think that God puts you on the earth for a specific reason. I think like we're here at this time, in this life for like a specific reason.
For sure.
So I don't want to like squander that. So I think.
When did you come to that realization?
It's a good question. I don't know. I might have just honestly like started to kind of slowly morph, but
Yeah.
I've always been motivated. Like even like in high school and middle school, I bought this box of like 1,000 Airheads on Amazon for like $50. I resold individually them for like 50 cents. Somehow I made like $900 selling Airheads when I was like
awesome.
in 8th grade. So I've always been like I'll sell my siblings like silly bands or whatever. It's like, I was always big into like, okay, I want to have some kind of service or product and sell it to somebody and make money. And if it helps more people, like what I do now, that's like a bonus, right? Like that actually fulfills my purpose because like I'm actually able to help other people with my services and products. So yeah, it's a mix of that. And then also just I'm super driven, motivated, obviously. Like I want to always hit that next goal.
Yeah.
And I know by me doing that, I'm also helping way more people while I do it.
Do you see yourself bringing in your siblings to join you?
It's a good question. I think a lot of...
Because you have a lot of them, bro.
Most of them are not as motivated as I am.
Yeah.
Like some of my brothers are like they've gotten on the bandwagon of like Iman Gadzhi and seeing some of these like
Okay,
other guys.
I can see it. Yeah.
So I think they do.
You look like him a little bit.
Dude, my siblings literally say the same thing. They're like, "Are you trying to copy Iman?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
"No."
look like him a little bit.
But yeah,
With the glasses on, maybe.
yeah, exactly. Get his like his glasses. That'd be funny. But they're like, I mean, they kind of have like saw my.
Do you
stuff
think that
and
they're just young?
That's the other thing is most of them are literally they're in high school, right? So it's like they're not thinking necessarily of
Right.
the future.
What about your sister, the 21-year-old?
No.
What is she doing with her life?
I don't even know. She's like, she went to college, dropped out. You know, she's got like a boyfriend now, and I honestly don't know. We kind of like have her as, she's kind of like the messy child. She kind of, which like bless her heart, you know.
Shout out to your sister.
Shout out to my sister. Maybe you watch this. I don't know. But she's cool. I mean, I think definitely not like as motivated to like do business, but
Yeah.
yeah. My brothers though, like the one right below that is a boy, and he's my brother. He just graduated high school.
So he's 18.
Yeah, so I think he's like reading some of these books that I've read. He's
Starting to scratch that surface.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's starting to scratch.
Is he
that
going to
surface.
college?
I don't think he is actually. I think he skipped college, which is also kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Because my sister went to college, but she dropped out, and she still has debt to pay. So I think that was a dumb decision, regardless. But
How do your parents feel about that?
so what's funny? My dad's a lawyer, so he went to like 8 or 9 years of school to like get his degree, and he went to multiple universities to like graduate.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's very successful at this point. Like he runs his own law firm, and like he definitely instilled a lot of.
Wait, so who runs the farm?
The farm, like I said, it's kind of like a very small it's almost like a backyard chicken type.
Got it.
Like operation at this point. It's
Got
not,
it.
Like when I was doing it, I was probably doing like 3-4 hours a day on the farm, taking care of them, feeding them, moving them. So right now, maybe I don't even think they have much animals at all. So like it's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, Leo, go feed the animals, feed the sheep or whatever, and that's it. So my dad was not like a farmer, right? So like he
Got it.
inherited the farm, or like he purchased the farm from my grandmother. Because my grandfather died probably when I was 10 or 11. So he basically moved in, built her a cottage, and we kind of just added animals slowly.
Makes sense. Got it.
But yeah, so
It was more like a passion project. He inherited.
Yeah, it's very much so.
And
Like
it became
for
a
me,
passion project. Got it.
Exactly.
And
So
you really made it something.
exactly, yeah, 100%. And so for me, like in the future, let's say I do buy a farm, have some land, have some more kids, and raise animals. It's not going to be something where I'm like a slave to the animals and now I'm a farmer full time. I'll probably still be running my businesses, but
For sure.
there's ways that you can incorporate your kids to like do some, like with me, my dad basically said like, hey Joe, you're the man for the
Of course.
job. And I
Yeah.
basically
You're
just,
the oldest.
yeah, exactly. So I just kind of
You're my mini me, bro.
yeah, so I just took over the farm and started raising the animals. So I'd probably do something similar where it's like, maybe it's like a passion thing. I add another 30 to 45 minutes a day to go take care of the animals, but
Right.
it won't be like my full-time thing.
What kind of law does your dad practice?
He does like estate planning and a lot of like the real estate side of things. So
Got it.
yeah, so he's big into like trusts and wills and just helping people. Like for instance, when I pass on, I want to make sure I have everything set up for my kids. So he's very conscious with that kind of stuff. But he never like gave me really anything. So like you hear this stuff and I'm talking about like my dad being like a successful lawyer. So people are probably going to be like, Joe just was like, handout trust fund kid. It's like not at all. Like I literally had to work my ass off on the farm. I had to buy everything I wanted. Like my dad would never give me an iPod or an iPhone or whatever. I had to buy it ever since I was like 10 or 11. And that's why I had such motivation to make money. Because even my siblings today, it's like if they want candy, if they want a phone or whatever, like my parents make them buy it. It's like, you can have that. I'm not going to buy it for you. Like if you make your own money and go buy it, it's your money, do what you want. So he definitely instilled like work ethic, hard work and all that. But he never like gave me any money, if that makes sense.
I mean, if anyone thinks that you lived a rich, your dad had 12 kids, bro.
Yeah.
Like he better be a lawyer. He better go work hard.
You better be able to support it, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, if you were an only child, maybe that probably make more sense.
It would be a lot different.
But with 12 kids, that's a lot of mouths to feed.
It is. It's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah. And we were
Man,
like in the middle of
growing
nowhere.
up must have been crazy, especially for
was.
you because you're the first one, and you just saw
Oh my
11
gosh.
lives just multiply out of nowhere.
And my siblings, dude, my siblings are so lucky because I was like the guinea pig. So it's like
Yes.
they were really strict. So it's like even when I had, as the time I was dating my wife, right? So like I was probably 16, 17 years old. Like I was not allowed to like go on dates or like do any of this stuff. Like there's
Wow.
always a sibling in the basement watching us if we were like watching a movie or whatever.
Really?
There's always chaperones. Like they were strict. And now it's like my 16-year-old sister, like she's dating some kid and they go and hang out and
How things have changed,
way
huh?
more freedom. I think that's just how parents are. They kind of evolve into being less strict and
For sure. Well, it's more of this, right? It's more like I have 2 kids.
yeah.
So the first kid, you're super paranoid, right?
Yeah.
With the second kid, it's like, he fell, whatever. Get back up.
Yeah.
It becomes more desensitized, right? And you're like, whatever. Let him live. It's okay. He'll live.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know?
My parents don't really have a crazy reaction if like
You got 12 kids.
yeah, it's like at this point it's like
I can't even fathom.
it's insane.
It's insane.
It's fun though. It's definitely cool. Like
Your mother
again,
had kids for like 13 years.
I mean,
like,
she just stopped 3 years ago, so 20 something years.
That's crazy. God bless her soul.
Yeah,
She's basically a stay-at-home mom, right?
100%. Yeah, and that keeps her busy. I mean,
For sure.
yeah, even a couple kids.
Can you imagine doing laundry for 30?
And
Wait, no, it's 15 people.
Yeah, it's funny. My siblings really are not that good at like cleaning up after themselves or like doing their own laundry. So like, they'll help around the house here and there, babysitting, maybe cleaning. But I don't know how my mom does it. Like my wife does laundry every day basically, and there's only 3 of us. So it's like imagine 14 total people.
Bro, in like 10 to 15 years, your Thanksgiving's gonna be wild. Because each sibling will have a partner and probably have
they'll
kids.
have their kids, yeah.
It's gonna be a zoo. It's gonna be 100 people.
Yeah, they'll probably outgrow.
You need to document that, Joe. You need to
yeah.
videotape that.
No, 100%. I'm
It's
big. I'm a big
incredible.
content guy.
Yes.
So I'm definitely gonna be.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I think eventually I want to have like a really, really big house where it's like I could host, a 200-person event or like have the family all.
And everyone's your family member.
Yeah, we actually did that once. We had like a whole reunion at the farm, and like everyone's Irish, so it's like everyone's coming from like Ireland and upstate New York, and they were all coming down to see each other. There was like a couple hundred people there.
That's
And they
incredible.
were all family, so it's crazy. Yeah.
Joe, let's move on to marketing and social media and online.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the state of social media today, and what's the best way to grow?
So I think a lot of people are starting to migrate towards much more authentic and real content.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us back in 2020 and 2022, we were kind of copying other people, regurgitating content. We were doing just like not as like the Hormozy style edits. It's like everything is super flashy and there's a lot of B-roll. Recently, I've seen a lot of people pop off just by posting their daily life and like what's going on and just being real and authentic. So I'm trying to actually segue out of doing like those crazy edited videos and more so just like down to earth type content. So I think it's a lot more real, it's a lot more raw, and I think it's still heading that way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty biased. I think Instagram's definitely like the platform to be on.
Me too.
And I think other platforms serve a different purpose. So like I'm also on YouTube because YouTube's very
Right. To me, those are the two most
long-form.
powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
IG and YouTube.
If you can stay with like Instagram and YouTube and you just go down that road for
Yeah.
like the next decade or whatever,
Yeah.
you'll crush it. Like
I agree.
TikTok's a little bit glitchy here and there. It's like people are trying to get rid of it and all this stuff. It's good to be on there, but I would put my focus on Instagram and then take a lot of that content, repurpose it on YouTube. Or like let's say you create trainings or long form content. YouTube's always like a good long-term play, but it's not going to grow probably to the level that you think it will as fast as you think it will. Versus
Right.
Instagram, it's a lot easier to gain an audience and then kind of migrate those to your like YouTube channel.
Very true. I as you were talking, I was thinking of I forgot his name. It's this white kid. He's a bodybuilder, and he makes just
Sam Sulek.
Yes.
Very authentic.
Extremely authentic.
He just pops up his phone and films. I don't even think he has subtitles. Which is
He doesn't
funny.
even edit it.
Yeah.
There are no edits. He just uploads.
But he popped off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, you know? It's like people are kind of yearning for just, like, who is Leo, right? Like, who is
Right.
Joe? And that's one thing I really try to pinpoint in my programs. Like, that first couple weeks that you go through, it's like, I'm going to make sure that you know what you stand for, what are your values, what are your beliefs. Like, we want to find your own voice, kind of pave your own lane. That's why I hate, at this point, like, all the copycatting, like copying other people and like taking these like ChatGPT prompts and like just making the same video. It's like everybody and their brother's doing that. And like, no offense to Wes Watson, but I think Wes Watson in his programs, he basically tells people what's worked for him. And so he says, you know, go do X, Y, and Z. And so now all of a sudden you're seeing all these
Copycats.
tatted up
Tons.
white guys without their shirt on, screaming at the camera, and they're saying like basic, you know, motivational just stuff
Right.
we've heard like a million times, but they haven't really done the deep work to figure out like how can I
Who they are.
Yeah, who they are, like what
Yeah.
do they actually believe. So I try to get my clients to like really hone in on like, okay, what makes you unique? Like what are some of those specific stories to you that you
Right.
can put into your short form content?
I have a good buddy of mine. He's a personal trainer. And he's stuck in this I need to see people to make money
Like physically.
physically. He's hesitant to move over to the online space. What would you say to him?
I mean, I'd probably ask him, like, how's it going so far? You know, like, are you making the money you want? Are you happy? Are you free?
Free, yes. He's very
Location
free.
freedom? You can go where you want, whenever you want, and still make the same money? Probably not.
No. He travels yearly. Makes probably okay money. Not enough to really live
Yeah.
comfortably.
Yeah, so, like, I'd probably have to ask him, like, if you're happy doing that, go for it. I'm not going to put a gun to your head and say you got to get online, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like if you're not making the money you want, something needs to change. If you don't have the freedom you want, like financially and location freedom, like you can go where you want, whenever you want, and still make the same money.
Right.
And then time freedom, like can you make your own schedule? Can you, you know, take off for 5 days and
No,
it's
definitely not.
So yeah, there's another issue is like with like in-person training, it's like you're kind of capped to one location.
Yeah.
You're like tied to like a specific schedule. It's like you have to see your clients at this time in this place versus you go online, especially with like a group type coaching program, which like you hop on a Zoom call for like 2 hours on a Friday, you answer everybody's questions, and then they go watch the modules where they can get their other questions answered, right?
Right.
It's like it saves you so much time. It's way scalable, and you can make 10, 15, 20 grand per month. So I just ask them, like, if you're not where you want to be, then something needs to change. And that lowest hanging fruit, I would definitely say, is getting online, creating a personal brand, posting content, and getting clients that way.
I almost feel like he wouldn't know what to do with himself with all the extra time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's that too.
Someone actually asked me on another podcast, they were like, you know, let's say we get you to the point where, you know, my coaching program, I only have to work like 4 or 5 hours per day. They're like, what would you do? Like, what are your hobbies? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I work out here and there, but I don't have like, I don't go golf or
Right.
I don't have like hobbies really. It's like, I like to work. I like to create content because it's like my work is kind of my life and I like doing it. So I'll do like a 12-hour day and, you know, not even blink because it's like, I just like what I do. So I've seen that issue with like people that sell their companies. It's like they're
Yes.
building this baby and they've like put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. They sell it for 7,
they're
8, 9
miserable.
figures, and that they're like, what do I even do? So there's definitely that aspect.
Like
what
they're
would you
lost
even,
in life.
yeah, it's like, what do I even go? Where do I go from here? But I think that's a better scenario to be in. Like, oh, I have all this free time. If he has a family, I'm sure you can
Yeah.
go on some trips, you know, hang out with them. I'd rather be in that scenario than a slave to this in-person. Because like I've literally worked with clients with that
For sure.
specific scenario. They're like, hey, I'm 50 years old. I'm tired. I don't want to have to keep on physically showing up for these people every single day from like 7 a.m. to
Yeah.
9 p.m. and still only getting paid 3, 4, 5 grand per month. They're like, there's got to be another way, right?
Right.
So it's not scalable. And that's when they come to me. And so like if he's like, hey, like how do I even get started? Where do I even go from here? You know, what do I do with my time? It's like we'll cross that bridge like when we get there. You first need to figure out, you know, what are your goals? Who's your ideal client? How do we even build this brand? Like, how do we create this content? Who are you, right? Like, how do we find your own voice?
Yeah.
And then we can move into like the more tactical stuff with posting, creating like a program and an offer and stuff like that.
How much content do you post per day?
So this is something funny that I think I have a different take than a lot of people. I think a lot of people assume that if they get on social media, they have to be posting 2, 3, 4 pieces of content per day because this guru told you to.
Yeah.
I actually think that's one of the worst things you can do if you're just getting started trying to build your brand.
Why is that?
So I personally post about 3 to 4 times per week. I'll probably get to the point where I'm posting
3 to 4 times. Per week.
Yes, and I'll probably get to the point where I'm posting like every day. But like, I think if you're posting content for your audience, you're essentially asking your audience for a gift, which is their time, a comment, a like. So you're basically asking them for something every time you post. And think about it, if you're posting 2 times a day, every single day, you don't give your audience a break, they're gonna kind of like get tired. They're gonna, you know, be like, oh, this guy again, like, and they're gonna scroll past. And that's probably why initially your organic reach is dipping because you're just posting too much. The other issue with that is you're not giving yourself enough time to like really craft a solid message or craft a solid piece of content. Because I tell my clients, I would much rather you post 3 really solid pieces of content per week where it hits the heart of your audience and people take that, they share it to their stories, gets on the explore page and actually gets you reach and results versus you posting 7 to 10 mediocre, like basic posts because somebody told you had to post twice a day. Because that stuff, it's like if it doesn't hit the heart of your audience, it's, you know, you're posting so much that like you're not really paying attention to like the messaging and the quality and the, you know, the actual substance.
Yeah.
And the reason that some of these bigger guys, which I do say like, hey, let's say you do get to the point where you're able to post 3 to 5 times per week and it's solid content, it's solid value. And like, let's say you could hire a team, like you have these guys like Andy Elliott or Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, like they have teams, like they're spending tens of thousands of dollars per month on content teams, which is why they can post 2, 3, 4 times per day and also maintain the quality of the video and the quality of the messaging. So I think in the beginning, start small. Like, don't think that you have to like eat the elephant. Like you can kind of start with 2 pieces of content per week, then we move to 3, then we can do 5, but don't just jump to 2 per day if you've never done content, right? So I think there's stages, if that kind of makes sense.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard that in that point of view.
And there's different takes. It's like,
Yeah.
there's different takes for everything. That's personally what's worked for me. Like I try to really hone in on the messaging, like what does my audience need to hear? What are their pain points? What is the ideal outcome that they want? And how can I craft a piece of content that will speak to that? Because if you can't speak to your audience in the correct way, they're not gonna, you know, be enticed to actually share that content or like that content or post it on their story. And that's the kind of stuff that Instagram looks at. They're looking at, okay, what's the watch time of this piece of content? What's the shareability? Like how many times has it been shared? And if they see that, okay, this is resonating with people vibe with it, they're gonna push it to more people, right? Versus you have 10 posts a week and they're like, again, baseline, mediocre, it's like just you posting whatever because you didn't have time to like sit down and think, you're not gonna really go anywhere. You're just gonna overwhelm your audience with, you know, dog shit content.
You don't think that if you don't keep a consistent flow, they'll forget about you?
No. Do people forget about people that post every other day? Like, I think they actually get excited. Let's say you do 3 posts per week. You do it every other day, kind of what I'm doing. It gives your audience time to chill out. And then it's like they see the post the next day. They're like, oh, Joe just posted. They go to the page, they comment, they leave a like. So I think they definitely don't forget you. I mean, and that's the cool thing with consistency is we have to define what is consistency. Like you could post every single day. Let's say you post 2 posts per day, every day for 5 days a week. If you're posting 60 to 80 pieces of content per month, you could do that for 4 months straight. And then you leave Instagram for a month, or like you get burnt out because you're doing so much work and you're like, I can't think of any more content. I'm burned out. It's not growing. Like this is what I see with a lot of people is they'll go a few months posting a ton of content, which is good, but you quit for like a few weeks or a few months and you're back to square one. That's not consistency.
Right.
I've actually been super consistent in my terms with content, posting 3 times per week because I've posted every single week without like fail for the past 7 years, right? So like, am I better off than the guy that posts like 4 times, 5 times the amount, but then like takes a month or 2 off because they got burnt out? So you kind of have to define like what even is consistency.
There was this account that I saw that I think it's a Chinese account, and they were doing a test. They were literally posting 100 pieces of content per day.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah, Mr. Beast was there and he was like,
yes,
dude, they had like 1 billion impressions. And I'm not saying,
yeah.
I'm not saying like,
9.2 billion impressions.
yeah, that's insane.
How do you post 100
They
pieces
must
of
have
content
like,
per
I'm telling
day?
you, they have a team. And that's why I'm
Oh,
saying.
for sure.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
have
It's
you
like,
need a team.
yeah, it's
Plus
impossible.
AI.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it. But that's why like I'm saying is like, I'm not saying don't post 2 times per day. I'm not saying don't ever get to the point where you're posting every day.
Right.
I just think there's like seasons where you need to like really craft your message and refine how you actually create this content. Like I go over systems and processes with content creation in the program to make it easier to post.
What do you use? Go high level?
Nah, not really. I actually just have like a content system. So like Monday or Tuesday is where we kind of go through the research phase. So I show you actually how to effectively do research on like, okay, what are those main topics and niches that people need to hear about? Or like what's trending, for instance, and like how do we take that stuff and put it into our actual content? And then kind of midweek, maybe we'll script out a lot of the content, just figure out like what we're going to be saying in these videos. And then maybe like, let's say Saturday or Sunday, we'll sit down and we'll actually film it. Because I feel like a lot of people, they kind of jumble it up into one thing. They'll do like research, they'll create a quick script, they'll film it, they'll edit it all in one day. And it just gets like jumbled up. And I think there's like, people have different energy for different tasks. So like creating content might be more of like I don't know. Well, doing the studying part is probably a lot more creative. It's like you're kind of like getting in this like analytical mode versus with like content, it takes like a different part of your brain to actually sit down and film the content. So when you're doing like all at once, I've seen a lot of people get like overwhelmed with that. So I just show you how to like batch it all, if that makes sense.
You have a very patient and chilled approach to social media.
You have to. If you're expecting to get results fast, you're screwed from the start.
I agree, but I think most marketers just want to throw everything and see what sticks.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly have been like that. I think I've had to learn to like trust the process and kind of stay consistent and go with the flow.
Yeah.
Because the more you try to force it, like the worse off you typically become. I actually have this video in my program. It's called Process, Practice, Game Day. And so
process, practice, game day. Okay.
Yeah. So the main basis is like, you see these massive athletes. They didn't skip the process. They didn't skip the practice.
No.
To get to where they are. They had
They
had to go through that practice. They had to go through that process of becoming, let's say, an amazing basketball player.
Right.
It's the same thing with like social media, creating content. If you try to skip over that process, skip over the practice, what happens? You got to go back and you got to redo it.
I agree.
So it's like in basketball, it's like if you skip over doing the process or the practice, then you're back to square one. So I had to learn like, okay, I can't like force this. I can't skip over these important lessons and like learning curves that I needed to build, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing that people miss is they try to skip over the practice, they skip the process, and that's why they're not growing because they have to go back to square one because they need to learn. You know what I mean?
I've made all these mistakes.
Same.
All of them. I mean, I've been growing my brand for about a little over 2 years now. And like a year into it, I was so impatient.
Yeah.
Like I did stupid shit. Like for example, I bought followers.
That's a great example.
Yeah. I paid these dudes like 12 grand and they were going to help me go viral.
Really?
Yes. It was called Viral Coach.
Never even heard of it.
Bro, like the idea was solid.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's nothing that I didn't know. They just really helped me guide me through it. Right. Didn't really work. But their idea was basically they put together for me a list. They asked me who are people who I'm trying to be like.
Yeah.
Right.
So like took the people.
I gave them a list.
Found all the most viral content.
Exactly.
Put it into.
And told me to recreate it.
Yeah. I learned that a while ago.
Yeah.
Not for 12 grand for free,
Yeah.
It works. I mean, it does kind of work. Like it's very time consuming.
For sure.
I mean, yeah,
It can work, but you're not really original. You're
That's
not
what
really
I'm
doing
saying.
your content. You're copying someone else's shit to try
Yeah.
to try to piggyback off of their success.
Yeah, and the thing is, even if you do go viral, you're not necessarily even gaining the right audience.
Right.
Because there's a difference between getting
Because you're
viral.
copying someone else's shit.
Yeah, and maybe you're not even getting them for the right reason. Like
Right.
maybe you did something that went viral for a different reason, and you got all these followers who they're not your ideal client. They're probably not going to purchase a $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000
Correct.
coaching program. So it's
Correct.
like, are you looking for the clicks and the virality and the views? Sure, go do that, but you're not going to make money doing that, right? Like it's not all about just getting the views and the numbers.
Right. Sometimes it is. Right?
Yeah.
But other times it's not.
It's a mix. Like I think
Yeah.
it helps to have a solid following, and I help people grow their
For
following,
sure.
and get more engagement. Like that's super important. You need to have some credibility.
Yes.
But yeah, again, you need to do it. You need to go about it the right way. Like I've also bought fake followers, and I probably invested into like a dozen different like growth campaigns and all this
Same.
stuff. And
Yeah.
it was okay. Like it did help me a little bit with like getting like a kickstart, because people do take you more seriously having 10, 20, 50.
100%.
Like sometimes they don't even
It's
know that
required.
it's-
Yeah, people don't know that it's bought.
Yeah, some people don't even know that it's BS. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't know.
I definitely think it has helped, but if you go about it the wrong way, or you invest in the wrong company, or like these bots, and it can script your account like nobody's business. So you do need to be careful with that. But yeah, like that's one thing people do is they'll be like, I want to get 10,000 now, purchase on Buzzword or whatever, and now you get 10,000 bots, and now you're shadow banned, or Instagram's flagged you.
Right. Or like they don't last.
Yeah, there's definitely a big drop off with that too.
Huge drop off.
Yeah, the retention is not good.
No. Like they'll last like 2 months. And then you see your numbers going down.
Instagram's like, okay,
You're like,
this
what's
guy,
going on?
Yeah, Instagram sees the
People
bots,
don't
they're
love
like,
me anymore.
Yeah, you're supposed to be growing. You kind of just dip down. That's what I'm saying. Process, practice, game day. It's like if you just go by the followers, you're gonna go right back to square one.
Because you're skipping a step.
Skipping. Yep. There you go.
You got to do this organically, authentically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only way.
And I actually think like when people say organic, they think that like investing into their brand is like cheating. Like when I say that, I mean like running ads or investing
Correct.
into like press.
That's
or, like,
different.
yeah, or like purchasing like to be on spots with podcasts. Like people pay Wes Watson 10 grand to be on a podcast, and
Yeah.
people
I paid him 10 grand.
Yeah, there you go. And people would say like, "Oh, you cheated. Like you're just paying your way to get to the top." Blah blah blah. And I'm like,
No, man. It's hard work to pay somebody 10 grand.
yeah,
It's not easy.
and it's worth it if he can get you business and get you the eyeballs and the credibility. Why wouldn't you do that?
my YouTube went from 500 to 5,000 because of Wes Watson.
Yeah, my buddy Brennan, he had him on, and he got like
Yeah, I know Brendan.
Yeah, so he
Yeah, made
got,
70K.
Yeah, he made 70K. You know what I mean? So it's like you can pay to play. Like Instagram is a very pay to play game.
Yes.
Like I said, I've invested $100,000+ into myself and coaching, but a lot of that's also branding and like getting myself out there,
Right.
getting in the right rooms. It's like if you can pay to be in a room with massive ballers and they have an audience, you
It's
should
huge.
pay to get into that room and tap into their audience. That's how a lot of these big guys in Miami are collabing, is they're all getting into the big rooms. And
Yeah. So I am a sponsor for Andy Elliott's next event.
yeah, really?
Yes.
It's going to be in Miami, right?
Yep. I have a booth. If you'll be there, you'll see me.
Oh, dude, that's super cool.
Yeah. So I am recreating my podcast at the booth.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to do a small podcast. Yeah. So I literally paid to be in the room.
Of course. They're not going to get that for free.
No. And then I'm getting access to the VIP party, gonna mingle, network,
Yeah.
You have to pay to play.
And you'll see that return. Like
100%.
Most people, which is funny, they'll see this coaching program. Like I charge about $4 to $6K, and so I'll probably be charging more soon for my coaching programs. And people will see that and they'll be like, how could you possibly charge, or how could you pay this guy $5K or $10K to learn X, Y, and Z about branding? But they don't have like that business mindset where it's like, if I pay $4,000, I'm skipping all this hassle and trial and error to like spin my wheels. So you're saving yourself time. And ideally you should, within that 90-day period, you should have your own business making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 per month online.
Yeah.
So if you pay $4,000 to get a $10,000, $20,000 business, and that's minimum, it's like you see the return and it makes sense. But most people don't think like that. They just see the price tag and the upfront cost, if that makes sense.
I offer a $15,000 package. It's called the Ultimate Authority Builder Package, where I bring you in. We do a day and a half of straight up content, about 5 or 6 hours of content that you leave here with.
Yeah, that's
we
solid.
we do photos of you. We do 3 YouTube episodes for you. We do a full podcast. We build out your CRM. We do your landing page, do the whole thing for you. $15,000. And you leave here with 90 days worth of content.
Yeah.
Posting twice a day.
That's a lot of content.
A lot of content. Yeah. But it's content that is scripted, designed, catered to the client, his message, and his clientele.
Yeah.
That
saves a lot of time. Like, can you imagine
oh
just
my
doing that
goodness.
yourself?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a way for you to not cut the line, but
kind of fast track your results.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're paying somebody to do the work,
Exactly.
or like you have a blueprint that you can follow, or that your clients
most
can follow.
people have no idea how to build content for social media.
Tell me about it.
No. So they come to me. I have a full studio, full production, and we do it for you.
Yeah, you have the gear, you have the
We
stuff.
spend a day together. We prior to you coming here, we do a whole a 90-minute phone session where we go over mindset and we go over what your plan is, what your goal is. We script out exactly what you're gonna say. So you come in here, you're ready to shoot.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's solid. People who are in the content world like me, they see that and they see the value. They see how much time it's going to save. You obviously have like the proven results. You have the studio. So it's like, it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, other people, they're like $15,000. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a car.
But you'll get that return.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you're true about your craft, and if you're really investing in yourself to grow your following, you're going to grow your following and make more money.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree.
It's just a start. Just scratching that surface.
Yeah.
Joe, you're young as fuck. Where do you want to be by 30?
Definitely want to be, money-wise, probably mid 9 figures. Like, I think, I don't really have like a money goal. Like, Ed Milet says this thing, like, how much are your, like, can you be bought, basically? Like, at what money point are you, like, chill, you're going to stop working? Like, I don't think I'm ever going to really stop working. Like, I could have 300 million, net worth, and I'm still going to be doing stuff.
For sure.
So I don't think there really is, like, an end. I think when I'm 30, I definitely want to have, like I said, mid to maybe even high 9-figure net worth. Like, that's another 8 years, So I definitely have some time.
Flies by, Joe.
Yeah. Follower-wise, millions of followers. Probably at least have like 5-7 million by then. But then, I just want to, like I said, kind of buy like a farm. Maybe I'll have 2 houses, Maybe I'll have one down here so I can come here. And the Virginia winters suck. That's another reason why I wanted to move down here. January right now here, 80 degrees.
It's the best, bro.
Yeah. Like right now it's probably like 20, 30, 40 degrees in Virginia.
I'm from New York, so I know.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's cold up there, bro.
So I would live there maybe like from like March to October, something like that. And then after that, move to, Fort Lauderdale or somewhere, South Florida for the winter and have 2 houses, land, chickens, whatever. I think kids-wise.
I was just going to ask you, how many kids do you want?
Yeah,
Here's the real question.
So we started young, so like we got a lot
sure
of time.
did.
I think a solid amount. I think it was like 6. Like I think seeing my family, and people would say 6, that's crazy. That's a lot. But like that's half of what.
My buddy has 6 kids.
Yeah, I think it is a handful. But I think
Yeah.
if you space them out correctly, I think that it can be a fun time.
Oh, you can make that happen. You're mad young.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think six kids, I think is probably the ideal amount. And then
You gotta get started. You gotta have one soon. You gotta get started, bro.
I got one already. She's about to be 2. So I think we're kind of on the right track, you know. So yeah, I think 6 kids is probably the ideal amount. Have a couple nice cars, nice big farmhouse, and yeah, just chilling.
Live
doing
life
what
and
I
help
like.
others. Yeah.
Yeah, hanging out, creating content, networking, doing that for the rest of my life.
Do you know what this is?
It looks like Thor's hammer.
Sure is Thor's hammer. Do you know what gives you the ability to be able to lift Thor's hammer? Are you an Avengers guy?
I used to be. I haven't seen the movies in a long time.
So you got to be worthy,
Okay.
right? Thor's worthy.
Yeah.
And so is Captain America, which is why he lifted it in Endgame.
Yeah. I
Right?
remember that.
Please pick it up. Pick up Thor's hammer, please. You worthy 22-year-old. Have a seat, please. No, keep it. Yep. Keep it.
Am I worthy?
So I do this with everyone. And I want to know, what does worthiness and value mean to you? And what would you say to another 22-year-old who's out there, unmotivated, thinks really low of himself, can't figure out a way through this jungle? What would you say, Joe?
Well, I think we're all made in the image of God. I think he put us here on this earth at this time. I think you're watching this for a specific reason. So worthiness, I've had to learn this the hard way. Like I used to kind of judge myself on like, okay, I'm not, like let's say I make a little bit less this month, you know, profit wise. I kind of like, you know, shit on myself and say like, oh, I'm a loser. I'm not as worthy. So I had to learn the hard way that money, you need to detach money from worth. Like that's the biggest thing for young guys. You're going to see a lot of people online, and social media is not what it's
I love that, Joe.
chalked up to be, you know? And
Yeah.
I think the younger the audience is, a lot of times the more they compare to other people. So you're seeing these like 19, 20, 21-year-olds making $100,000, online supposedly. And you're like, I'm, in college, I'm not doing anything. And it kind of just puts you down. It's like you compare yourself to other people. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't base your worthiness on money, because everybody kind of has like different levels that they start out with. And I think at the end of the day, it's like you kind of have to tap into the higher power. Like you're here for a reason. God put you here. You have the ability, like you have free will to do whatever you want, good or bad. So it's like if you don't take that and run with it, like you have one life to live. So at the end of the day, it's like especially if you're young, like that's one thing that we have on these older guys is like time. You know what I mean?
Damn straight.
So it's like there's a lot of successful entrepreneurs who didn't even get started.
I'll be 40 in 3 years.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's wild.
You're almost twice my age.
Literally.
So, and a lot of these other guys that I was on podcasts with, they're like in their early mid 40s, and I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
like I'm where I'm at right now. Imagine what I'm gonna be doing at 44. You know
I
what I mean?
can't wait to see you at my age.
Yeah, like it's gonna be wild. So like again, if you're 20, if you're 25, it's like the one thing you have is time.
15 years from now, Joe, when you're 37,
Yeah.
you're going to be a beast.
Yeah. Exactly. So I just say like start where you are. Like just figure out what you like doing. If you have a skill, try to figure out how you can monetize that. Build your brand. Huge proponent in building your brand, and try not to compare yourself to other people. Like I have another video called "The Thief." Comparison's the thief of joy. The more you compare to other people or other circumstances. There's always going to be somebody richer or wealthier than you. So it's like, at the end of the day, just focus on your own journey and focus on you. And eventually you'll be that guy that people are comparing, themselves to, which is wild.
Amen. Incredible. In 15 years, I'm gonna come see you at the farm.
Yeah, dude. I'll invite you. Man. It'll be cranking by then.
Joe, it's been incredible, bro. Thank you so much for coming out here.
Appreciate you, man.
You are someone extremely talented. You have a great message, and I love that you are of service, and I can't wait to see what you do.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you, bro. Guys, if you are someone looking to take your physical business onto the online space, Joe's your guy. He's gonna take you through the entire process of mindset and literally transitioning your entire service online. Give Joe a buzz. I'm gonna put his contact down below. Actually, Joe, do me a favor. Look at that camera right there. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, so Instagram is where I'm most active, at Real Joe McCarthy. So feel free to shoot me a follow, check out the content. If you want to book a one-on-one call, I still take calls personally so we can dive into strategy for what you're trying to do this year with the brand. So feel free to click the link in my bio, book a call, and we'll chat.
Incredible. Make sure you contact Joe. I'm putting the links down below. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.